Chudlogic dipping his toes into politics. We're gonna be taking a look at this. This is like what, 1 hour long?
And I'm like,
1 hour, whatever, partially long. I have, I think he's anti. I think he's anti timpool. But yeah, we'll see.
bro, come on.
Yeah.
The right to keep and bear arms includes all weapons, and gun and weapon-free zones are nuts.
Is it really that crazy to have a ban on students carrying knives at school? Wait, what? Is that what he's trying to... I'm a bit confused.
I mean, there's only so much on bow blacks you can do. Yeah, I agree.
They're gonna show him and say he's small, he's frail, he was trying to stay out of the rain.
Why small? He's frail. You know, sorry to racialize it. He's a black athlete, for fuck's sake. I've really grown to despise this, where you've got the circumstances as they exist, and then they take it to some deranged hypothetical that you don't need to go there. You literally do not need to take it there. You're old and you're sickly and you've got bones that are about to snap in half. One of the blackest criminals I've ever seen, and you're, oh, that's a frail individual.
Dude, Hewitt, I like how... I didn't even know he was that black. Jesus Christ. That's hella black.
This is actually in relation to the stabbing of that Austin Metcalf guy, right? Okay?
Foodshops date when DM me, thank you, when you donate.
And normally, it's, you know, a bitter fight between the progressives and the conservatives as they argue the toss in regards to whether or not the black person was right to do what they did, whether there was excessive force, etc., blah, blah, blah. You get the gist, right? Etc. But actually, it's not actually the left versus the right. It's the right versus the right. Okay? Because Tim Pool is actually the one with the take that people have taken the most issue with, I think. So it starts off here. Now, what this is in relation to, and I followed this a little bit, but the Carmelo Anthony guy, right? His family set up a campaign on this thing called Give, Send, Go, which is like a conservative answer to GoFundMe. And people are putting pressure on the owner to take the campaign down. Now, my perspective on it is, you know, I think everyone is entitled to a good legal defense. And if someone is able to fundraise to get that, then more power to them, no matter what they've done wrong. Right? And as much as I think this guy is a fucking murderer, right? I think he's still entitled to his day in court. And I think he's still entitled to the best legal defense. And if he's able to fundraise off of that, then so be it.
I think it's really easy to forget that Chudlogic is actually like a liberal. He's not a leftist anymore. I think he's just a liberal.
You know? I mean, that is like the fundamental market in action of like the charity aspect of it. If someone needs support and people want to support them, well, that's up to them at the end of the day. You know? And, you know, you can not like it. You can think that he's a murderer. You can think whatever you like about it. But it is due process, innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. You can have your opinion about it, of course. You can say that you think he's guilty.
Right.
But I don't think it's reasonable that you put pressure on a fundraising platform to take the fundraising down. Because the problem that you've got...
By the way, again, there's no reason for this to get so big, okay? All right, again, there's like literally no reason for the stabbing to get so big. The only reason is because the guy who did it was extremely black. And the guy who is the victim is extremely white, okay? If it was a white-on-white violence or it's black-on-black violence, nobody would bat an eye.
Is what do you then open the door to? Like, clearly they're saying, well, we're going to have a stance or we're going to allow this to exist so that anything can potentially exist. Because if you start going, well, you can't have that and you can't have that, well, you arrive back at the same problem with GoFundMe, where things that, you know, are politically inconvenient get removed. You know, it's the classic thing of like, you know, like, it's like the basic principle of, what is it? Like, you know, I do not agree with what you say, but I'll defend to your death the right to say it. It's like that principle, but applied to the idea.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, the right wing doesn't even believe in that. Right wing does not believe in free speech. They don't believe in due process. Like, all of these things they say they believe is only applicable when it applies to their side.
Yeah, that, like, I don't agree with your reason for fundraising, but I'll defend to your death the right to fundraise. Something like that is what I'm thinking of, you know? So anyway, this guy responded. People are mad about our stance to allow Carmelo Anthony's family a campaign on Give, Send, Go, and I get it, it's a horrible situation. There are even calls for a boycott, but because I know a similar scenario will happen again for someone on the right, and our competitor won't allow them to...
But how do I make money off depressed people?
My bull mastiff ex Ridgeback kept my wife safe walking in public in a shithole suburb. She was followed by a creepy Indian and our dog, Jimbo, stared him down, growled, and then that curry left in a hurry.
Thank you for the super chat. It sounds racist, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Like, okay, like, like, I feel like Chudlogic's audience has become, I would say, like, on the same level as Sam Hyde. Like, I think that he has an audience full of, like, Sam Hyde fans, basically. And Sam Hyde is, like, a neo-Nazi, right? So, you know, like... So he himself is a moderate left streamer who streams about drama, but then he has a Sam Hyde leaning audience. So, you know, like, but you know, Chudlogic doesn't deny this. Like when I told him about his audience, he basically says, yeah, I have a far right audience. It is what it is. You know, this is like the kind of audience that consumes the stuff that I cover, and you know, like it is what it is.
Happen again for someone on the right, and our competitor won't allow them a campaign, even though it is a legal endeavor. People will be back to using Give, Send, Go because we're the only fundraising platform that truly stands on freedom and principle. Like, what is wrong with that? What is the issue with that? To me, that sounds like the best way to do it. And although you might personally find it displeasurable that it exists, at least it allows everyone to have a place where they can fundraise, free of any political ideology. Sounds like it's probably a good idea to keep it up for the sake of everyone. Anyway, nonetheless, obviously some righties don't like this and have been spitting feathers about it. Whatever, that's not really the main reason to talk about this, okay? The main reason this is of interest to me is because timpool... What is this? Okay. timpool quoted it with, "I'm confused by this story. Are we against self-defense now?" And I think there was a bit of confusion. Look, to be clear, you mean self-defense as in raising legal funds, not self-defense as in what the guy did was self-defense, right? Well, no, I think that timpool believes that Carmelo Anthony acted in self-defense. Now, admittedly...
Oh, what? Hello? Wait, really? Oh, fuck. Really? Man, that's confusing. Who's high? Oh, wow. Look, it's my #1 fan, Belle. Hello.
I've not looked at this in detail, but based on the few videos that I've seen about this, it doesn't seem like there's a strong argument that it was like self-defense, right? It seems like this Carmelo Anthony guy was itching for...
Look, in any other circumstance, I would consider addressing this a waste of time, but, you know, like... I think it's just something funny to laugh at. Yes, I know, I'm using the commentary defense, okay? This entire, like, right-wing obsession over this extremely dark kid destroying a boy of the light, okay? The kid who walks in light, the boy who walks in the radiance, all right? Is just kind of funny to me. Like the fact that because one is extremely black, one is extremely white. Belle, no. Okay, you're not allowed to talk about that. Okay, stop.
A fight, a guy started a little something and he finished it lethally, and he probably deserves some sort of criminal punishment for that.
Oh.
Right? You know, I don't think that, like, an altercation, a physical altercation, particularly the nature of where it was happening and stuff, should then give you free reign to stab someone in the heart. Right? To me, that seems like you're not reasonably fearing to the point where you can use lethal force. Now, I don't know how it's going to spin out legally. Right? I'm not sure exactly. Because sometimes America surprises me with some of the decisions they make with this.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like it's disproportionate to the perceived threat that exists, you know? But I think maybe we could listen to a couple of defense attorneys talk about this too. Maybe they've got some insight into it. And some of them, they do give fair takes, so we'll see if we can...
Well, hey, disavow, chinchilla, disavow, 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 okay? No, none of that.
Find one.
Disavow, disavow.
But, you know,
Jesus.
Timpool then went further and shared this. So Sarah Fields, the retard from the Harry Sisson story, shared this. I don't care about conservative tribal outrage. And then this is from the police report that this Sarah Fields person shared. The victim, Austin, and the suspect, who was later identified as Carmelo Anthony. Anthony was from Centennial High School and was sitting under Memorial High School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under the team's tent, and Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, touch me and see what happens. No one really thought Anthony really had any weapons in his bag.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me just repeat.
From the Harry Sisson story, shared this. I don't care about conservative tribal outrage. And then this is from the police report that this Sarah Fields person shared.
Bro, there's nothing more satisfying than burning down a ship, okay? I love using fire-only builds in FTL. It is what it is, all right?
The victim, Austin, and the suspect, who was later
Creepy landlords
identified
that's
as Carmelo
impossible.
Anthony. Anthony was from Centennial High School and was sitting under Memorial High School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under the team's tent, and Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, touch me and see what happens. No one really thought Anthony really had any weapons in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out what Redacted called as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. The other problem as well, and this could be complicated by the exact order of events too.
Bro, the knife has fucking lightsbane, dude. The knife had the lightsbane enchantment on it, okay? It's a fucking rare weapon. It had a lightsbane enchantment, okay? Like, this is why I killed him. That's it.
But you can't argue self-defense if you provoke the violent encounter, right? That doesn't work. You can't go up to someone and provoke an incident, and then they react to you, and then you stab them. And you go, oh, self-defense, because you've
This does not sound like there's no evidence of this being racially motivated from what I'm hearing, right? Like assuming that what Chudlogic is reading is accurate, it just doesn't seem to me that this is racially motivated, right? Like it just seems like this could have happened between two white people, two black people, two brown people, right? Any one of these. But just because the two races are different, now we are seeing like a situation where, yeah, it's just like again, just to me at the very least, it's just it's a complete non-racialized situation. Is this the running track thing? Yeah, it is. It is. But from Chudlogic described, it just seems like two teenagers that were getting very masculine with one another. One of them is getting out a knife and then stabbed the other one. And then the other one died, okay?
provoked the incident. So it's, again, like, it's very murky at best. At best, this is murky. I don't think there's a strong argument here this is self-defense like in other cases that we've seen. Like, this seems to be this lad had a knife, wanted to stab someone and stab someone. I don't know. Something like that. You know? Yeah, touch me and see what happens is not a statement of someone who's in fear for their life. Exactly. So I don't understand why he's sharing this.
Yeah,
and
it's a
acting
toxic
like this backs his
masculinity,
point up, because I don't think it does. Necessarily. Right? I get the young black lad is arguing that, and that's going to be his defense, presumably, but I don't think this police report backs Tim's perspective up. This seems to suggest that at best it's murky, and at worst it's highly likely it's not self-defense. Austin began grabbing his chest and telling everyone to get help. Redacted advised he did not know Anthony's name, but stated another Memorial Track member was friends with Anthony and could identify Anthony. Redacted described Anthony as a black male, skinny, with possibly a goatee, short puffy hair, and wearing Centennial High School clothing. This concluded my contact with Redacted. Okay.
Okay.
Why is he sharing this like it meaningfully backs him up? What, like, Tim Pool is getting absolutely fucking hauled over the coals for this. And I'm like, yeah, I can see why. You know, I'm a bleeding heart libtard. And I can see that this, just like the black guy seemingly was a brute and doesn't seem to be acting in self-defense, you know?
Jesus Christ.
Although generally I try to have the right take about this sort of thing. So anyway, I don't know if this is relevant. This is the full police report, I guess. There's the mugshot. Okay.
Yeah, he's extremely black. I can see that. He's really blending into the black and whiteness of the picture here. I can totally see why the right-wingers jumped down this one.
Anyway, I don't think we need to read all of this. He's obviously shared that, presumably because that is the, you know...
Hey, Belinda. Hello. Hey, it's my favorite person, Belinda! My favorite person. Hello. Unrelated, but am I the only one who thinks that was an insane thing to say? What, like that he's a brute? Yes, yeah, it seems like... it seems kind of weird at best, right? Yeah. I mean, like, again, you know, I think everybody has a bit of racism on the inside. I think Chudlogic is no different. You know, it's just like how I make comments about how black people are. But like saying that he's a brute here is just kind of strange. Sure. Like you can definitely argue like, oh yeah, maybe because of some kind of underlying bias that black people are brutish orcs, you know, acting like the people that Sargon of Akkad paint them out to be. And then acting like some kind of like fucking constantly going around trying to look for new fresh young white people to stab, right? Looking for some fresh blood, you know, looking for some low melanin levels. Okay, they have a radar that is like detecting where are the low melanin people at? Do beep 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 beep, and then you pull out lights, bang. This is my family dagger that I use to stab slavers. Yeah, I mean, like this is ultimately what they paint them out to be, right?
At the specific point he thinks backs him up. But he did speak about it on the show. Oh, there was another tweet that Tim Pool did as well. Dude, I can't really make him out. I don't know about you guys. He's a bit tough to see in this picture. I'm not really sure what to make of this. But yeah.
This
also,
is
the other problem is...
Don't steal my joke.
Well, is that... Oh, dude, New Home Resilient. Yeah, I'm meaning to get to that. He's done a YouTube video about it. We'll get to that later. Tim Pool did this other, like, kind of just bizarre tweet where he was talking about the Second Amendment or something. And I think this, was some sort of reference to what he's talking about here, I think. I'm not really sure. But he references it in the video we're about to watch. But yeah, he says something about the Second Amendment defends you from this, that, and the other.
To be fair, she looks nice. Belinda, that sounds extremely gay. All right?
No, it was really weird. Hang on a sec, sorry.
Why is your mic vibrating? Because I have a vibrator on? Duh, of course. I'm kidding. No, I don't, okay? It's because I have restless leg syndrome and I'm like shaking my legs, okay? It's a regular pastime of mine, okay? Also prevents pulmonary embolisms, okay? No, I don't know about that one, okay?
It's here somewhere. It's here somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, this is it. This is it, I think. Is it? Sorry. Fuck! I should have had this ready. No! I fucked it up. Did he post so much? It's crazy. Anyway, we'll get to the video. I think he explains it. But yeah, he has some sort of weird take about the Second Amendment or something. Very weird. But anyway, here's what he had to say for himself.
All right, here we go.
Kicking the air? What?
Shane H. Wilder says, I find it funny that, quote, journalists ignore Tim's post when it doesn't fit their narrative of him, while focusing on his posts when he is trolling. Guess that's what's happening when their IQ is pudding. Indeed. This is, I mean, look, guys, you know, what are you going to do? I know that you can't convey complex thought on X. So I posted on X.
Why? Stop. Why are you saying these things?
The Second Amendment was never intended to protect.
Is there a normal term for it? Yeah, restless leg syndrome. I don't know.
I forgot what I said, but it was basically knives, swords, and bayonets were never considered arms by anyone ever. Only 18th century muzzle-loaded muskets were considered arms. And someone actually tried doing a community note saying I was wrong. And someone responded being like, dude, the saying only 18th century muzzle-loading muskets is arms clearly identifies this as a joke, making fun of gun control.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about it is, it was a commentary on gun-free zones and gun control, only tangentially related to the Texas story. But my point was largely that the right to keep and bear arms encompasses everything. And I got a mixture of, I can't believe Tim is anti-2A. Tim is wrong. Muzzle-loaded muskets aren't the only thing protected. And screw you, Tim.
Didn't right-wingers in history get pissy when the Black Panthers essentially got a hold of guns? Like when the Black Panthers were like having guns out or something like that. Like sure, there are a bunch of dishonest hacks, right? Like the Black Panthers were just a bunch of grifters and cringe like virtue signalers, right? Like I know that version of history. But like, is it actually true that the NRA began to want to pass like gun control because of the Black Panthers? NRA supported gun control and the Black Panthers had the weapons. With each having the debate for gun control, blah, 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 NRA. Yep, that's correct. No, that's a thing. Yep. That's a thing. Yep. Yep, that's apparently a thing.
And you were defending a murderer. It's just like...
You're not allowed to have fun on X.
You're not...
Why do you have a gel ink pen? Why not? It's a pretty pen. I like pointing it. I like, dotting it. I got the idea from late night shows.
No fun.
It's like fishing.
No fun zone.
And every once in a while you fish up a boot, and you're like, that's like when it's an AI bot.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I do it because it's trolling. It's funny.
Yeah, you caught a boot.
So,
that's what they call fishing. I don't know, it's trawling.
Who's teaching giant wild cats to shoot pew-pews? Nobody. Maybe they're just posing with it, okay?
Trawling.
Right now, we have this story with Carmelo Anthony that is extremely contentious, and everybody's very angry. Conservatives called for the death penalty on a 17-year-old kid, Carmelo Anthony, over this. They've called for boycotting Give, Send, Go for allowing a fundraiser. Sorry, that's not.
Bro, I'm sorry, but from what Chudlogic described, right? Like it just seems to me that it was in every single possible way, like in the moment, like it was very clearly in the moment. It's very clearly like, oh, it just happened spontaneously, right? The death that fucking came from it, right? Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like race. I don't know. I don't want to say racism, but I'm so happy Chud is railing against the right to. Well, yeah, because here's the thing. I'll criticize Chud for this, okay? Here's where I think Chud messes up. I think that Chud feeds a lot. Okay, feeds a lot into the anti-SJW discourse, okay? Because you know that I go after anti-SJWs, right? But I think Chud does that a lot, but he's not wrong on a lot of these things, right? Like on the specific events that he covers, he's not wrong on a lot of these events. But the problem obviously is like he selects for these so often to the point where you can definitely like it's still trying to paint one side one way, right? It's still this kind of like Rev says Desu adjacent kind of thing, right? Clearly. And I think that's where the ultimate flaw is. I think that's where the problem is, right? Yeah. So then I think he needs to make clear, like, okay, the audience that I want is people who are into my content, but if I don't know. Like, I don't think he cares about what kind of audience he wants. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to ask him, though. I don't know. But yeah. This is what I think. Why did femboys become Nazis foods? Because I don't know. It's like maybe they just don't believe in gender transitioning. Maybe they just believe in like, oh, maybe we should have far right people acting feminine, and that's epic and base and shit.
I don't care. By all means, Carmelo Anthony is likely going to get convicted. He'll probably take a plea bargain because he did not have justification for the use of force escalation that he did. We'll probably figure out what happened with the story. But it's crazy to me that there are people who are like, boycott, give, send, go, because they're allowing him to raise money. I'm like, what is a legal defense? He's gonna hire a lawyer.
Yeah.
They tried taking away this is why we don't like go.
Okay, well, I agree with that. I mean, I just literally said the same thing. Yeah, that's stupid. So I agree with this part.
Fund me. And the people calling for the death penalty on this, that's crazy.
Yeah.
They're arguing that. So these people are all wrong. Even who is it? Branca? Am I getting his name wrong?
Oh, Andrew Branca.
Yeah. Said, I think he was saying this. I watched some of it, that it's not justified self-defense because the escalation of force is not commensurate. However,
I just think the description of the gifts and go post is written in an unnecessarily unclear way, lol, which isn't even hard to fix. Well, I mean, like, if that's the only problem you have with it, that's completely separate from what the rest of the right-wingers are talking about, right? Like, they're basically, like, they're just trying to find any kind of issue to get the post removed and to fucking cancel, okay? Let's not waddle the weeds here, okay? Let's not swan the goose here, okay? They're trying to cancel gifts and go because how dare my black person use the conservative white site?
they will make the argument because Carmelo was like 5'7", 5'6", 130 pounds, and there were 4 or 5 guys around him. He's going to argue he was scared of the group, not just the single individual.
Isn't he a trap?
Bro, that is fucking ridiculous, man. I get they're going to make that argument, but like, he was apparently, allegedly, according to the fucking police report, he was putting his hand in his bag going, touch me and see what happens. Like, I don't think that is the action of someone who is legitimately scared or fearful.
I don't see what's wrong with that, because every single night when I go chasing after a woman, this is what they say to me, right? They pull out a gun or a taser and they're like, touch me and see what happens. Shh, women say that all the time, all right?
For their life, right?
Track athlete?
I don't know.
I was like, run away.
But it's crazy how hyper-tribal this is, where there
He's
are
black.
people actually...
Bro, Twitch muscles would be faster than the whites. You'd be fucking gone. Usain Bolt yourself out of there.
arguing it's first-degree murder because the school banned weapons. And I'm like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
The right to keep and bear arms includes all weapons, and gun and weapon-free zones are nuts. If you want to argue, you can't
Okay. Is it really that crazy to have a ban on students carrying knives at school? Wait, what? Is that what he's trying to... I'm a bit confused. Is that what he's trying to argue? I think that we...
You know, I'm against students carrying knives at school, but I am, in fact, for, carrying, a fucking Glock, you know?
We can reasonably assert that at school, students should not be carrying weapons. Maybe that's just a crazy Eurocuck perspective. We're talking about a school. What reason is there to carry weapons into a school? Are you serious? Yes. Why does a 17-year-old athlete need to carry a knife around at school? Explain that to me.
escalate force, I agree. If you want to argue that Democrats can vote weapon bans wherever they want, and you're for them now, I'm like,
defend from school shooters. What, with a knife? What? Wait, how?
Well, you haven't. Come on, it's very easy. You just have to deflect the bullets, okay? You just have to, like, I don't know, fucking helicopter your arms, okay, or something. You just have to go like, and then it's like, fucking kung fu your way out of there, okay? I mean, like, everybody has watched wuxia anime, right?
Fucking, he'd be able to. Well, based on that fucking mugshot, maybe he could just blend into a sort of dark area of the school and just kind of open his eyes, whites of his eyes come up, and he's got his knife, and he just fucking stabs the school shooter as he walks by.
Like, that's nuts.
I mean, they have gun-free zones all over Times Square.
That's stupid.
Yeah, they don't work.
That's dumb. Yeah, right.
As a Chinese person, your kung fu demonstration was weak as fuck. Well, I mean, I'm not Chinese.
There was that Trende Aragua guy who was shooting people in Times Square.
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, he
Plus,
didn't see the sign though.
but that's the point about this case too. It's like
Signs are in English, not Spanish.
the guy brought a knife to a school where knives were banned.
Yeah.
Why did the sign work?
Yeah, I know.
That's why I'm like, this is dumb. I don't care. And
I mean, you know, obviously, I don't think that a school should be like in America when you do have a genuine issue of people that have got guns. I'm not saying that you can't have a gun in a school, but I'm just saying I don't think that should fall on the students. And I think it was a kind of crazy concept if you're setting up a situation where individual students are armed to defend themselves from school shooters. You know, there should be appropriate security in place in order to defend children from threats whilst they're at school, you know? I want to bring my samurai sword to school. Ninja.
Wait, no. I am Chinese, okay? I am Chinese. Okay, stop. That was a joke. Okay, that was a joke. I'm not Chinese. It was a joke, okay? But like, okay, on God for real though, okay? Like, okay, as somebody who was working a job where it might require you to be self-defense armed, it would have been cool to open carry a rifle while working outside, okay? All right, it would have been cool. It would have been pretty rad, okay? I'm just saying. It would have been pretty cool. Would have been pretty rad, okay? If I could carry like a rifle or something outside, okay? While I'm doing work.
Stars. I mean, I would guess technically by this perspective, you would be permissive of ninja stars at school. I don't know. I don't know how far this goes. You know, bringing the fucking ninja shit into school. I don't fucking know, man. I just think, to me, the best situation seems have appropriately armed security guards at school, but students should not be armed. Is that like an anti-Second Amendment take? I guess I don't know.
I just think it's insane that people are saying he shouldn't be able to have a give, send, go. But also,
Well, they're going to turn it around for, you know, the conservatives' similar pet cause. And they're going to, people are going to be like, if give, send, go acquiesces here, then they're going to do it for
and
something else.
Give, send, goes refusing to back down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing too is there are a lot of people intentionally lying about what happened. There are a lot of prominent people who are telling the truth, but there are a lot of people that are lying. For one thing, people keep saying it was a tent. It was a gazebo. And I saw some prominent conservatives talking about it, and like typically the principal actors, like the larger with larger followings, have been honest about this. There was a thunderstorm.
Yeah. Also, it's like you don't think about exactly growing pains. It's not like weapons pose an actual danger in and of itself. There's the other eventualities that can occur if you just allow students to be armed at school, right? Like, could there be accidents? Could there be accidental discharges that end up hurting someone? You know, could there be, you know, certain behavior afoot from students? The kids do stupid shit, don't they? Could they do stupid shit with a gun and then they accidentally shoot someone? Like, dude, it's just an absolute
Well, yeah, of course, you know, teenage boys and testosterone, okay? They're going to be pulling the trigger every 5 seconds. They know it's a display of masculinity when you kill a person.
to be a disaster. And I'm honestly a bit dumbfounded if this is true, that people genuinely believe that students should be able to be armed. That sounds absolutely insane. And I'm sure that's not the common perspective amongst Second Amendment advocates, but I can easily imagine that there's some American people who probably do believe something along those lines, because there's people that believe all sorts of crazy shit when it comes to guns in the US.
Thunderstorm. People keep saying it was a tent. It was a gazebo. And I saw some prominent conservatives talking about
what difference does that make, I wonder?
5-year-old bring our XL bully to school for safety, just in case there's a shooter.
Indeed. Thank you very much for the super chat, Dan.
it. And like typically, the principal actors, like the larger with larger followings, have been honest about this.
Chud, bad the Second Amendment because I don't like the implication. Well, I like the idea of the Second Amendment in principle is fine. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but I just don't think it should be as all.
I think Second Amendment is fine. I think guns are cool, and you should be able to fucking use guns. Okay, like fuck it, guns are pretty cool. Okay, like so it goes boom boom. It feels pretty manly. All right, like fuck it, let people feel manly. I think that's okay. All right. But it's when you know, people go kind of, you know, they let that kind of It's when you don't control the gun anymore, okay? The gun controls you. All right, you know what I mean? Like you are no longer the one who is controlling the gun. The gun is the one. It takes over your mind. It's like one of the rings of power from Lord of the Rings. Okay, it takes over your mind. Okay, all right, that's enough.
Encompassing to the point where school children should carry around firearms. I mean, if that makes me anti-Second Amendment, then I guess I'm anti-Second Amendment because that's retarded, dude.
There was a thunderstorm. It was after a thunderstorm. There was a tent, gazebo. It's not a enclosed space. It was those pop-up gazebos.
Yeah. He
sat underneath it. The guys approached him and told him to get out. He refused. He then put his hand in his bag and says, touch me and touch me. And he says, what he said, touch me and see what happens. The dude then grabbed him. And then he responded with, punch me and see what happens. The guy then grabbed him to move him, and that's when he stabbed him.
Was it like raining out?
Yeah, it wasn't yet raining.
Okay.
It began raining after the
Dude,
stabbing.
Also, there are reasonable limits that are placed on the Constitution, right? I get that like some of it gets debated.
Okay, I think that's enough. Yeah, I think I kind of get the point now. Okay, cool.